up, everybody? Welcome to Book Talk with Miss Lady P. I'm going to get right on into this week's topic because this is a conversation that needs to be had, okay? So, this week's topic is about toxic urban fiction couples and why we love them. Why do we need to have this conversation, you ask? Because it's a conversation that is long overdue, okay? So, recently I received a review from a reader, and she basically was saying that I romanticize toxic men in my books. And it didn't bother me at all. It's just that it put something on my mind. I was like, I feel like I need to have this discussion because I've been writing for almost 8 years and I've received so much backlash about my female characters, my male characters. So many readers come to me and they be like, oh, I don't like the character. She's weak. She's weak, or he's this, he's abusive, he's this, he's that. So over the years I've got a lot of backlash, and I'm just like, this is something that needs to be talked about. Because now, don't get me wrong, because reviews don't bother me now, they don't bother me, but when I first started writing, reviews was like, oh, they don't like this book, or but now I'm at a place in my career where I write what I like. I write what I know is needed. A lot of times people just want to read what they think their reality is. But see, this is the thing. My reality is not your reality. Your reality is not mine. We come from different places. We have different mindsets. My books are not for women who get their shit all the way together in regards to relationships. And when I say that, I mean this. If you are in a perfect relationship and if you are in a perfect world and you don't care to read about weak women, toxic men, then these ain't the books for you. And I'm just going to be very honest. The thing about writing street lit and writing urban fiction is that this shit is raunchy. I'm not that author who writes about a motherfucking nigga working at McDonald's and a girl fall in love with him. No, that's not my reality. I don't want that. Don't get me wrong now, because I'm not knocking any man who getting up and going to work, baby. Whether you flipping a burger or flipping a motherfucking bird, you got to do what the fuck you got to do. Okay? So, here's the thing. When I write my books, my goal is to capture the reader who's reading it. I cannot tell you how many times I've wrote a scene between a man and a woman, and it's so crazy toxic that I have to close my computer because it's triggering for me myself. If you've been reading my books for a long time, you know I'm very open about the way I put myself into my books. I think that it's important. If you're a woman and you ever been through anything, it is important if you write books that you put yourself into your books. Why I say put yourself into your books? Because you want the reader to be able to feel it. A reader knows some shit that you just making up off the top of your head. But readers also know when you write from the heart because they can feel it. I'm going to tell y'all right now. If you're out there and you watching this episode, I want you to know you're going to have to put that pain on paper. You're going to have to write that shit so a reader can feel you. Anytime you write a book and you're writing about a book babe, a toxic couple, you got to put your all into that. We are writing about, basically right now, the thing that's selling is these urban fiction romances, these urban romances, these guy meets girl, girl meets guy. This is going on, they go on, they ride off into the sunset, ride off into the sunset for the rest of their life. But in between there, that's a whole lot of bullshit that's going on. That is not unrealistic. That happens every day. Sometimes we as women, we got to kiss a couple of frogs before we get to the motherfucking prince. Okay? But in my books, when I create these book babes, I create them to my liking. It's just the way they behave is just the extra thing to give them character. I don't promote domestic violence, even though you will see in many of my books that there are domestic violence situations. I don't promote domestic violence, but I make it, I give awareness to it because it happens. A lot of women haven't been in domestic violence situations. I commend you. I thank you. I thank you for being strong. You one of the many women who are not strong enough to handle that, to deal with that. So I commend you. But when I write these books, please y'all understand, I am not promoting domestic violence. I am simply showing that it's happening. It just so happened that I'm writing about a urban fiction couple who's inside of a book. You know, I can say like back in the day when I first started reading books, I don't think the couples was ever the focus of the book back then. You know, like we didn't really, I can't speak for everybody else, but myself, I never really read books back then like classics and thought about how these couples are toxic. All I knew was that I love these characters. I love the way they put these characters together. For example, I'm a big fan of Wahida Clark's Thug series. This is a classic. This is a classic, okay? And in these books, in these series of books, what do we see? We see how Trey and Tasha behave with each other. We see the road that they took in order to get together. I think my favorite scene of one of the books is when, you know, she done went and got pregnant by this other guy. And Trey telling her, oh, you gonna get an abortion. You gonna get an abortion. He's dragging her through the airplane. He ready to throw her out the motherfucking airplane. She done pissed all over herself because she just that scared of that nigga. You know, but see, the thing about that is that y'all think a nigga won't do that in real life? And that's just an example that I'm using. You know, when we put these books in there, when we put these things in these books and we're writing these books, we're giving them character. Nobody wants to read about a boring couple that's just sitting in the living room arguing all day. No, let's tear some shit up. Let's break some shit. And this is not me promoting domestic violence. This shit is just happening, y'all. We just have some people who out of touch with reality. Another thing. Oh, these women are so toxic. Oh, I mean, not these women are so toxic. Oh, these women are so weak. You create weak characters. No, these females aren't weak. They are women with hearts. And they love differently. They love hard. So I'm going to reiterate this. If you are a woman who you don't go through shit, if nothing phases you, when it come down to a man, if you ain't never been in that situation and you can't relate, so you dislike the book for those reasons, you are reading the wrong thing, ma'am. Sir, you're reading the wrong thing. Because in Miss Lady P's books, we gonna get some motherfucking action. We gonna get some fighting. Because I don't write boring shit. I don't like boring books. I don't like boring books. I write books to give readers an escape from what the fuck going on at home. And I'm gonna give you an example of why I create my book bags the way that I do. Because I want every reader to escape. Sometimes we as women, we be laid up in a bed next to a motherfucker we don't even like no more. They ain't fucking us good no more. They ain't treating us good. They ain't doing shit for us that we like. Oh, let me pick up a Miss Lady P book. Because I'm going to give you a motherfucking visual about a nigga that you going to fall in love with and he's not even motherfucking real. That's why I create my men the way that I do. Because I want readers to escape from what they laying next to. Just in the event he ain't what the fuck he should be. Period. Okay? But I create these book bags because I create a fantasy. Sometimes when I be writing these sex scenes with these toxic ass men, God, it's like an escape. You know, these niggas be spending their motherfucking money, be fucking these fucking bitches out in the street. Y'all gotta excuse me. I curse a lot. You know, I curse a lot because I curse to get my point across. So I'm sorry if my language is just a little bit too explicit, but yes, we gonna talk real talk at Book Talk with Miss Lady P, okay? So back to it. You know, I like to create a fantasy. I've been in relationships before. I was in a 14-year relationship. All my young teenage years just gone. You know what I'm saying? And then I was in another relationship. I got into another relationship to get over the 14-year relationship, and that relationship was just as crazy. However, I learned so much. Any pain that I endured, I put that shit on paper. You know what I'm saying? Every book that anybody reads by me has a little bit of me, especially when it comes down to my female characters. I'm a woman that loves hard. When I love, I love. And I'm a Leo, so I'm aggressive, but I'm a crybaby too. So there's things that's gonna go on. I'm gonna be boo-hooing and I'm gonna be crying, but then I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna be a motherfucking gangster. You know? And that's how I try to create my female characters too, because sometimes they go through a lot and they gonna be crying and you're gonna be like, oh, I would never be crying over that. I would fuck him up. I would do this and I would do that. We all say what we gonna do until we in that situation. So I don't judge people. I don't judge people, but I write books so that women who have either been judged or afraid to speak up about anything, they get this sense of, wow, I went through that. Or wow, this is hitting home. I have so many readers who reach out to me and tell me that my books changed their life. My books helped their relationship. So trust me, I'm not promoting the bad shit. I'm not just promoting a nigga who making money so he can handle this bitch any type of way he wants to. No, I'm not doing that. This is just a story that comes to my mind, and I have to put some realness into it. You cannot be an urban fiction author. You cannot be a street lit author and not pipe it the fuck up when you're writing. You can't, because you want to catch these readers. I don't like books that's so long but boring at the same time. I write how I like to read. I want to read about powerful couples. I want to read about powerful men. I want to read about those motherfucking men who go above and beyond for you. I ain't never had that before. So it's okay for me to dig into my creative imagination and create a life that I may want through my characters. And that's not to say I want a man that's gonna hit me or a man that's gonna mistreat me, because all of my characters are not like that. I have a lot of book bays that are so fucking decent to their women. So fucking decent. So I'm telling you guys, I don't promote just the bad things. I try to write from a realistic perspective. A lot of us are out of touch with reality about the things that's really going on. And sometimes it's because you never been through shit, so you can't relate to shit. So what I went through, that's my story. So I have to figure out a way to put that pain on paper and get it out. And because I put that pain on paper, readers love my books. They love my couples, Don't get me wrong. Thug and Tahari, very fucking toxic. But they mesh well together. They figure it out on their own. Thug is a fan favorite, but people also don't like Thug. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it happens like that sometimes. So when I get on, if I ever do, episodes and I discuss reviews, don't ever think I can't take constructive criticism, because I can. It's just that certain reviews, they need to be talked about, because I forget how many books I've written though, but I have so many books, and I cannot tell you the number of bad reviews I have got on them based off the weak woman, based off the crazy book base. But y'all gotta know, that's what's selling. So as me as a reader, I don't want to read about a boring couple. I don't want to read about a boring couple. I don't want to read a boring book. So I try my best that when I'm writing my books, I go all in. I don't fuck around. The person that's reading that book, I want them to feel them characters. I want a woman who's going through something at home, when she's reading this female character and the shit that she's going through, I want her to feel that shit in her heart. I want her to be like, damn, oh my God, why he do that to her? Oh my God, let me tell y'all something. I'm very passionate about my books. I'm very passionate about my characters. I can get on here and I can talk to y'all for days about my books. Y'all know my books is my babies. They like my outlet. And I'm sure any other author who's watching this, our books is an escape, y'all. Like, for me, I've been through a lot relationship wise, and sometimes I just get in front of my computer and I zone out, because if I can't speak about it verbally, I'm gonna put it in my words, and I just let the world read it and take from it what they choose to. But I had wrote some notes. One of the things, one of the questions, why do we glorify toxic couples? And it's not that I'm glorifying the toxic couple. It's more so that I'm bringing forth awareness. I think that sometimes we as women can be in toxic relationships and we don't even know, and so shit hit the fan and we send back like, that was a toxic motherfucking nigga there, But I don't glorify it. I just bring awareness. So, One of my couples that I get a lot of backlash for is Trish and Marquise, because when I wrote Living for Love, Down for Loyalty, that was one of my first books. And it was one of the first domestic violence scenes that I ever wrote, and it was very deep. If you ever read Living for Love, Down for Loyalty, there's a situation where Trish, I'm not gonna go into it, but Trish, she some things happened in the book, and it causes Marquise to just go ballistic, and he really just like beat the fuck out of her. And when I was writing it, I didn't know that it was as harsh as it was until like years later when I wrote it. Now, mind you, when I wrote this book, had never been in a domestic violence relationship. I was never hit by a man. I was never mistreated by a man, in a sense of harming me like that. But when I look back at Trish, there was other things about this character that resonated with me, because I'm a woman who was in a relationship with a guy who had kids outside of our family that we were trying to create. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, when I write books and y'all see certain things in there, it is my reality. It may not be your reality because you don't understand it. You've never experienced it. But because I've experienced it, I'm able to write about it. So that's why it's real, and that's why people can gravitate to my books, and they open the books and they feel it. It's not some shit that I'm forcing. I don't have to force storylines. I don't have to force anything when it comes down to my books. And I write off the top of my head. But Trisha Marquise, that's one of my more controversial characters, and I received a lot of backlash. I've even been reported to Amazon for using the word nigga excessively in my books, and I didn't realize I said it as much until I went back. So I do say that a lot in my books about my book base, because this is supposed to be gangster. And like if we're having the conversation like right now, in the streets, I write from the street perspective. I know what my people been through. So it's not a sign of disrespect when I use that word. It's just that it gives the book what it's supposed to be giving, in a sense that it's street literature, in a sense that it's coming from an urban standpoint. You know what I'm saying? So I get a lot of backlash for a lot of things in my books, but it used to bother me. It doesn't bother me now, because I know that I can get on a platform and I can explain to y'all where I'm coming from, how I'm feeling about it, Another thing, when they were saying that I have the weak female characters and a disrespectful book base. I mean, come on now, y'all. We see disrespect all the time from men to women. We love reality shows. We watch reality shows where men disrespect women. We watch Love and Hip Hop and things like that, and we have men disrespecting the females on there that they're in relationships with. Our books are no different. Our books are no different. We are writing what y'all be seeing. It's just that we're putting it in a book. I like to talk about certain things in my books because it's going to change somebody's life. And it's possible because there's a book that changed my life. And it was a book by Keisha Irving, and it's titled Torn. Torn is a book that I highly recommend you guys to go read. It's by Keisha Irving. It's one of my favorite books. Before I ever decided to write, this was a book that I had picked up, and I don't know what it was about this book, but Mo and Quan, oh my God, they went through so much. If you're a Keisha Irving fan, do you know these characters that I'm talking about? Mo and Quan was like toxic at its worst level, But this book shows how you can go through some toxic fucking things with a man. You can love him with everything inside of you. But there's a man out there that's going to change your life for the better. He's going to give you the world. He's going to show you how a woman is supposed to be loved, how a man is supposed to treat a woman. And Mo found that when she found Boss. I'm not going to go deep into it, but Torn was a book that changed me. It actually cheered me up because in that moment I was like, wow, it's other women out here, you know, because when I read books, it's real to me, y'all. I love reading. It's just that I don't get to read as much because I'll be writing. But the thing about urban fiction books, when I read them, I want to feel it. I want to feel it. And Torn is a book that I can feel. Torn takes me to a totally different place. I have a lot of toxic book couples that I love. I don't know if you guys have ever read Stay by Ivy Simone with Frankie and Zeno. Zeno is my baby, okay? So if y'all ain't never read Stay by Ivy Simone, that's another toxic situation because he basically just took her. Her man owed him money, couldn't pay it, so he gave Frankie to Zeno. I mean, Frankie couldn't stand him. He was rich. He had everything. He was giving her the life any woman would want. But guess what? She didn't love him. She didn't like him. But she loved when he fuck her. All she loved is sex. She loved that dick. She loved that. Okay? She loved that now. Now, when they having sex, they the best of everything to each other. But when the sex is over, she retreat back to that place. And she had already been with him for years. And she had kids by him. So I'm just, you know, throwing other couples out there that I've read about, and I love them. You know, so I'm not the only author who's out here, you know, we write these books, but we write these books and we have these couples who we see going through all these things. You know, another book couple that I really love that's a toxic book couple is from a book called Devout by Takira Allen. Oh my God. If you ever read Devout, then you know what I'm talking about. We all know Denny motherfucking Graham was batshit crazy. But he didn't play about Kesey. He didn't play about her at all. So I loved how he loved her, but he was so dominating with his love. You know, he had a real mental illness. You know, she didn't know that, but she loved him. You know, and even when he was going through episodes, she still loved him. That don't mean that we are romanticizing toxic couples. It's just that this is real, y'all. This is happening. We have women out here who are in love with toxic men, and we cannot act like this is not going on, but we can also not put them in a category and knock them for that. Because what I love may not be what you love or what you would deal with, and that's okay. But don't say it's unrealistic. Oh, I can't believe she messing around with him and he doing this to her, he doing that to her. This shit is happening every day. Y'all got it. Come on now. Don't act like y'all don't know what be going on. But I don't take it away from women who don't have to deal with that. Like, I commend you. I commend any woman that's able, a man do one thing to her, and she's able to walk out the door and walk in. You the best, baby. You the best. We want that. There's women out here who want that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't romanticize, okay? These characters, I just bring forth some realness. And that's what it's about. It's about bringing forth realness, even though we writing fucking fairy tales. Me, I write hood fairy tales. Okay? These is hood fairy tales. I grew up in the hood. I love where I come from. So I'ma always dig deep and write from their perspective, you know. I write about hood niggas who able to, you know, get the picket fences and put it up. You know what I'm saying? Give bitches these big pretty houses with white picket fence, all the motherfucking money in the world, the luxuries in the world, trips, everything. You know, we as women, we be like, I love that shit. I love it because that's not my reality. I'm a single woman. I take care of everything on my own. What I wouldn't do to come across some big boss ass niggas that like to spend this motherfucking money and treat the motherfucking Rudy? Yes, I want that. So I write about that. I'm not the author that's gonna write about the nigga that work at McDonald's or Burger King and the bitch walk in there and they get to talking and all of that. Not saying there's a problem with it, but that's just not the hood fantasy that I want to give up. I want that. You know, I like my niggas bossed up and don't giving a fuck in my books. Because if they got the money, you know what I'm saying? I love it. I love the whole aspect of them having money, being powerful, rich, established. I just like that. I like that. So I write from that standpoint because that's also what I like to read about. I don't like to read about boring men. You know, I like niggas who with big dicks. So my book, the nigga ain't gonna have no small dick. Cause I don't like little dick. And I'm just being honest. So my book bays, they gonna always bring the big dick energy. All the time. Because that's what I want. I want a nigga giving out big dick energy all the time. I don't have that in my life right now. So I make sure I put that in my books. I want to get every woman that's picking up that book and they reading that book and today they having a bad day with the person that they in a relationship with, or they about to spend the rest of their life with, or they are spending the rest of their life with. Sometimes we need to escape too. We like fantasies too. You know, so I create a fantasy in my hood fairy tales. You know, I always get people always talk to me about my sex scenes and stuff like that, you know, and they come from my imagination because some of that shit I ain't never did before. I want to do it, so that's why I write about it. But yeah, you know, these toxic couples is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it brings awareness. Sometimes things can be going on that you don't even realize, but you can read this powerful book and it may trigger you, but it'll also bring so much to the forefront of your mind. We got to stop saying these hood fairy tales are not real, because there's so many women out here in the real world living real hood fairy tales, you know. I'll take Dirk and India for example. They come from Chicago. They come from the trenches, and we see them and, you know, living their life in bright lights. You know what I'm saying? That's hood right there. That's hood. You know, he so street, you know, come from a crazy ass city, and he managed to become this young rapper, millionaire, and now he's about to make this girl his wife. They have all these kids, you know, blended families, of course. But we see this shit happen in reality. I chose them because that's a hood fairy tale. And that's what I like to write about. I like to write about the underdogs who become the big dogs. You know, I like to write about the damaged women who meet somebody and make them better. Because what woman don't want a man to heal the heart that he didn't break? You know, so there's a method to my madness when it comes down to writing my books. It's definitely a method to my madness, but know and understand, when I write my books, I ain't writing a whole bunch of fake shit. I'm writing a lot of realistic things so that it can touch somebody, so that you can take this somewhere and use it in your everyday life. Just because it's a made up story doesn't mean that it can't happen, or it doesn't mean that it didn't happen, because there are scenes in my books that actually did happen. You know, but again, my reality is not your reality. So we gonna view the book differently sometimes. You know, but I want you as women, all of y'all who read my books, I want y'all to know that I do not promote domestic violence. It's not my intention to romanticize toxic men. I try to bring awareness, but I also like for the women to feel. You know, I like for y'all to feel the book when y'all are reading it. So I go to the extreme sometimes, you know. I like the funny families. Because I come from a funny family. Both sides of my family is, you know, we just crazy like that. So I like to input a lot of me and my life into my books, because I like for them to be real. I like for y'all to just pick up my books and go crazy. If you're a part of my book bar, they talk about my couples all day long, because that's what I'm known for. I'm known for my crazy couples and my book bags. See, I'm an author with my own signature, and every author needs to have their own signature when it comes down to their readers. I am a beast when it comes down to book bags. I'm a beast, and I can toot my own horn. I am a beast when it comes down to writing book bags, and when it comes down to writing crazy couples. That is me. That is my signature. That is how I feed my boys. That is how I keep the bag coming, because that's my signature. That's what sells for me. So I want y'all to know it's not romanticizing it. I'm just one of those people. I know what my readers like, and I cater to them. My main thing is making sure my readers like it. So I may have 95% of women who love everything about my books, and another 5% that don't like it because they can't fucking relate, and that's okay. It's okay for them not to relate. It's not an issue for me. But I do want you all to just know that 5% that does not care for my books, just understand I am not romanticizing it. I am not promoting domestic violence. I am just bringing forth awareness. That's it. That's all. Okay? And that is it for Book Talk with Miss Lady P for this week. I want you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you stay tuned, because next week's episode will be about a street lit classic by Danielle Santiago, Little Ghetto Girl. This is one of my favorite street lit books from back in the day. And if you don't have it on your Kindle, make sure you head on over to Amazon and copy it now, because that will be next week's book discussion. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and follow.